I'm going to start off this video by saying that you are almost always better off just getting a pair of over-ear headphones instead of on-ear headphones. But if for some reason you really like on-ear headphones, then the Bowers and Wilkins PX5s are a great option. Honestly, I never thought that I would actually like a pair of on-ear headphones like I do with the PX5s. And unlike the Beats Solo Pros, the PX5s are actually worth their $300 asking price. But I do want to stress that I think paying $300 for any pair of on-ear headphones is a lot. So I'm going to link some cheaper over-ear alternatives down below. But with that being said, I think the PX5s justify their $300 asking price thanks to their build quality, sound, and feature set. Now, just keep in mind, there's also the PX7s, which are over-ear headphones that retail for $400, and ultimately, you're better off getting the PX7s over the PX5s because they're more comfortable and they sound slightly better. They're just not better for your pocket. But nonetheless, if you want to pick any of the headphones mentioned in this video up, they'll be linked down below. Now, first let's address the PX5's carrying case, because in the past I've said that whenever you're paying $300 for any pair of headphones, a hard shell case is to be expected. And unfortunately, the PX5s come included with this stiff folded looking thing. The build quality of this thing is nice, but ultimately, I was hoping to see a hard shell case here because I still worry about these headphones getting crushed when they're in my backpack. But when it comes to the headphones themselves, these share the exact same design language as the PX7s, which is great. And just like the PX7s, the build quality on the PX5s is also great. Just like the PX7s, the PX5s have fabric on the headband and ear cups, and the ear cups also have metal plates. The PX5s also have the same carbon fiber composite arms as the PX7s, which look great, but keep in mind they're not actually functional because these headphones still weigh in at 241 grams, which is average for on-ear headphones. Now, the leatherette on the PX5s feels the same as the leatherette found on the PX7s. It doesn't feel bad or cheap, but it does feel fairly synthetic. It just doesn't feel anywhere near as good as the leatherette found on the Bose NC700s. But at least the leatherette on the PX5s feels way better than the leatherette found on the Beats Solo Pro. Now, when it comes to fit, obviously since the PX5s are on-ear headphones, they're not going to be as comfortable as over-ear headphones. But these are fairly comfortable for on-ear headphones. They're definitely way more comfortable than the Beats Solo Pros. The PX5s have significantly less clamping force than the Beats Solo Pro, but more importantly, the padding on their ear pads is significantly softer. And combined with the fact of me saying that the leatherette feels better than the leatherette used on the Beats Solo Pro, the ear pads on the PX5s just rest more comfortably on your ears and feel better than the ear pads on the Beats Solo Pro. But overall, since the PX5s still have a somewhat snug fit, to be on the safe side, I wouldn't say that these headphones are big head approved. But personally, I can put up with them for a while, and I can easily get through an episode of The Mandalorian with these headphones on. Now, when it comes to tech specs, these headphones charge via a USB-C port, and they have a 3.5mm audio jack, which is something that I unfortunately gotta point out, because the Solo Pros don't have an audio jack. And if you want to use a wired connection with the Solo Pros, then you're going to have to shell out $35 for Apple's Lightning to 3.5mm audio cable, which I just think is ridiculous. But just so you know, if you want to, you can also use the PX5's USB-C port as a wired connection. So there's always that. Now, regarding battery life, the PX5s have an advertised battery life of 25 hours with ANC turned on. But I've actually been using these headphones with their ANC turned off for the last 2 weeks that I've been using them, and they're still at 50% battery. Now, I'll explain as to why I've been using these headphones with ANC turned off in a minute, but regardless, battery life on these headphones is not bad at all. Now, when it comes to Bluetooth connectivity, these headphones are identical to the PX7s. They're rocking Bluetooth 5.0, but more importantly, they can be connected to 2 devices at the same time. They have aptX Adaptive, aptX HD, aptX and AAC support, and they have a 0 latency across the board when watching movies or videos on your phone, whether you're using an iPhone or Android device. So overall, I really have no complaints about Bluetooth connectivity on these headphones. The only thing I can ask for is maybe being able to connect to more than 2 devices at the same time. But now let's talk about listening to music with these headphones. Now, even though these headphones don't have an adjustable EQ, I don't really care because I think these headphones sound great just the way they are. What really stands out on these headphones is their instrument separation and super wide soundstage, just like with the PX7s. But the biggest difference sound quality wise on these headphones versus the PX7s is their bass. Now, both the PX5s and PX7s have a neutral sound signature, but the bass on the PX7s is unique because even though you don't physically feel the bass like you would, like let's say with the Sony 1000 XM3s, you can really hear it. Now, I know this might sound weird and it doesn't make sense, but the bass on the PX7s is very audible, and personally, I love how the PX7s sound. Whereas the bass on the PX5s has more of a reverb effect to it. It's a little more physical. Actually, I think the bass on the PX5s is like a watered down version of the Bose NC700's bass. But regardless, I really like how the PX5s sound because of their super wide soundstage and instrument separation. They don't sound the same as the PX7s, but they still sound great. But something that's very important to keep in mind is that these headphones sound best when their active noise cancellation is turned off, just like with the PX7s. When the active noise cancellation on the PX5s is turned on, the soundstage on these headphones gets narrowed a little bit and the bass isn't as dramatic. So for that reason, I've been using these headphones with their active noise cancellation turned off for the most part. But nonetheless, the active noise cancellation on the PX5s isn't the main reason why you pick these headphones up. Now, it does block out some noise, but the ANC on the PX5s performs more similarly to a pair of mid-tier ANC headphones rather than a pair of premium ANC headphones. But so that you can see for yourself, we're going to jump into an ANC test. Like you may have just seen, the PX5s block out just a little more noise than the Sony XP900N. But just as expected, they don't block out nearly as much noise as the Sony 1000 XM3s. But nonetheless, the ANC on the PX5s still block out a meaningful amount of noise, and they do so with very minimal cabin pressure, which plays a really big role in comfort. But now I want to address the ambient mode on these headphones, because this was a very big drawback for me when I first reviewed the PX7s. Thanks to a software update, you can now turn ambient mode on these headphones and also raise the volume of your music, which is something that you couldn't do with the PX7s before the update. So now you can listen to your music and still be aware of your surroundings, which is great for commuters or for when you're watching movies or TV on your phone at home. But the ambient mode on the PX5s isn't without its flaws. Wind noise can sometimes be heard when walking outdoors, and if you have ambient mode turned up past the halfway point, then you'll start to notice a little bit of white noise that can be heard when watching movies with these headphones. So for that reason, I like to keep the ambient mode on these headphones a little below the halfway mark, because then you don't really hear the white noise, but you can still be aware of what's going on around you. But nonetheless, I'm glad Bowers and Wilkins added a proper ambient mode to both the PX5s and PX7s. But still, one feature that's still sorely lacking on these headphones is a conversation mode, like with what's found on the Bose NC700s, where if you press and hold on their ANC button, they'll automatically lower the volume of your music and pump in all of the ambient sound around you so that you can quickly talk to someone without having to take your headphones off like this. Instead, since the PX5s and PX7s have wear sensors, Bowers and Wilkins thinks that you should just lift one ear cup like this. I just think this method is very clunky and silly. I just hope Bowers and Wilkins puts out a software update so that if you press and hold on this button, their headphones will just do what Bose's headphones do. But finally, here's the microphone test on the PX5s. And unfortunately, I can't help but feel that it sounds a little shallow and there's a lot of background noise. So I just wouldn't take phone calls with these headphones. But for comparison, here's the microphone on the Sony 1000 XM3s, which is notorious for sounding muffled. Because right now, the microphone to beat is found on the Bose NC700s. But overall, I still really like the Bowers and Wilkins PX5s. Even though, yeah, they're a little pricey, they make up for it with their incredible build quality, great sound, and long battery life. Now, even though their active noise cancellation isn't their strong suit, it's still usable. Now, if you're trying to choose between getting these or the PX7s, you're without a doubt better off with the PX7s. But if for some reason you really want to get a pair of on-ear headphones, then the PX5s are the way to go. Unlike the Beats Solo Pros, the PX5s do justify their $300 price tag. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. If you want to pick any of the products up mentioned in this video, those will be linked in the description down below, and you can also support the channel by checking out the merch store. But other than that, I'll catch you next time.